I think the senator would be delighted if he were to come back and see what his initial legacy has wrought, not only in the way that his collection of papers have been preserved, which is really kind of the first step in that process, but all of the associated memorabilia that he collected over his lifetime in Congress. The museum is really a very unique learning location for scholars and others who want to see a major figure in politics in the United States history, with a lot of interactive exhibits and so forth. We have the Institute on Aging, we have the Pepper Center, we have the Pepper Data Center, we have other organizations throughout the university community that work with us to try and help seniors live better quality lives, and that's what I think he would be most thrilled with.
The Claude Pepper Library, in its current state, is building on Florida State's main campus, and it's been here since 1999. We house the collected papers and documents of Senator Claude Pepper. It's over 3 million pages worth of material pertaining to the senator's career as both a senator and congressman. Many other archives, such as the Roosevelt Library, have other senators' collections housed within. This is pretty unique in that the main focus of this library is Senator Pepper's collection. We also have a museum in the main area of the building, which focuses on several points from the senator's life. The museum was constructed according to his autobiography, Eyewitness to a Century. And the exhibits start off with his family life in Camp Hill, Alabama, moving on to his role on the campaign trail during the 1930s, into his work in the 40s and 50s as a senator, and then into his work as a congressman, which he did from 1963 until 1989. This is an exhibit from the museum depicting Senator Pepper in the well of the House.
So I ask you, my colleagues, when you go home tonight and you close your eyes and sleep, and you ask, what have I done today to lighten the burden upon those who suffer? At least you could say, I helped a little bit today. I voted to help those who needed help. It may not answer all the problems, and it doesn't, but it'll give comfort. It'll cool the brow of many who suffer. It will give hope to many who almost are despair.
This is actually taken from the final speech that he gave concerning his career. The story goes that when the senator was a child, he would travel from town to town with his father, who did lots of migrant work in Alabama during the 1900s, and he would tell stories to his father's friends and things like that, and everyone would be so captivated by it that they would pay him in pennies. From early on, he was just a powerful speaker. His speeches from the 1930s and 40s bear that out a little bit more. Definitely had the booming voice, could hold a crowd very well. In one of the letters between him and Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Roosevelt goes so far as to say, I'd rather have the fortune of speaking after Claude than speaking before him and sounding like an utter fool, or something to that effect. But I mean, he had skill, and it was seen early on by a lot of his contemporaries. My favorite part of the senator's collection would have to be the speeches that he gave, warning the United States of the inevitable conflict that we'd be facing in the Second World War. He was a proponent of what was called Lend-Lease legislation. Many people in the United States felt that this was tantamount to violation of our neutrality laws. Many of the senators, including Senator Pepper, who sponsored this legislation, were attacked by such groups as the Congress of American Mothers, who hung him in effigy outside the steps of Capitol Hill. The senator was quite a socialite, knew many people, traveled around the world and around the United States. His skills as an orator put him in contact with not only the Washington elite, but stars of screen and American sport. The senator was a proponent of civil rights in the South when a great many individuals were opposed to that. He interacted with and advised many United States presidents, including Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Harry S. Truman, And in the collection there's correspondence between himself and the presidents. Also several other senators that he worked with, Tip O'Neill, Al Gore. These were senators that he worked with and congressmen that he worked with later in his career in his work for rights for the elderly, underprivileged. He sponsored the Medicare and Medicaid legislation in his days as a congressman. When he was a senator, he was a proponent of the minimum wage bill, and was really just always wanted to be on the liberal leading edge of what was then termed progressive-minded politics. When the museum itself was being designed, presidential historians were brought in, and they recreated Senator Pepper's Senate and House offices from photographs. He kept an extensive photographic record, and they were able to piece together from all of the items that he kept how his offices looked when he was in the Senate from 1936 until 1950, and then again from when he was in the House of Congress from 1963 until his death in 1989. Throughout Senator Pepper's career, he was an outspoken advocate of the underprivileged, the American laborer. He helped to author some of the first minimum wage legislation in the 1920s and 30s, and remained throughout his career an active advocate for the workers, not only in his own state but throughout the U.S. This is Senator Claude Pepper's Congressional Medal of Freedom, and it's the highest civilian honor that an individual can achieve in the United States. So he was very happy to be a recipient of this award.